I'm Meg. Welcome to Plant Fit Meg. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I hope you'll take a look around at some other videos while you're here. I have lost 80 pounds and completely regained my health on a plant-based diet. So I make videos about healthy weight loss, simple plant-based recipes, and living a healthy lifestyle. In today's video, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into my weight loss journey and sort of where I started and where I ended up, where I am now, and sort of go through the timeline starting from, as a kid and stuff like that. I have talked about my weight loss, of course, on the channel before, so I will link a few videos up in the cards throughout the video. My husband and I made a video together about us talking about our weight loss journeys together. Combined, we've lost well over 100 pounds now, so I'll link to that one. I also talk about mistakes that I've made and things that I sort of did wrong and wish I could redo in terms of weight loss. But for this video, it's more of like a timeline and my yo-yoing up and down and how my transformation was not linear. So I thought it'd be interesting to share my journey and my experiences. I find it really fascinating to hear other people's stories of their weight loss and their health journeys and where they've come from and how they came to be where they are. So hopefully you find this video interesting and maybe helpful. I will be including a lot of photos throughout the video so you can see what I've looked like throughout the years, and you'll probably see some really awkward, preteen, teenage years, some weird hairdos and hair colors, and yeah, it'll be fun to retrace my steps and share my weight loss journey with you. So let's get right into it. So let's go back in time to the late 80s, and I was a young child, and I was an average weight, kind of normal weight. Not any weight issues or anything like that. I was pretty active as a kid. I took swimming lessons and I danced. I was in gymnastics. I played soccer in the summertime. I didn't do all those activities at the same time, but over the course of my childhood and teen years, those are activities that I was involved in. So I was pretty active as well. And as I got a little bit older, I was a very awkward preteen, or tween as they call them now. I'm dating myself a little bit, that's okay. So yeah, I was a bit of an awkward preteen and I developed really early. So that was a thing that I had to deal with. I kind of had that sort of baby fat-ish thing that people talk about where they're like, oh, you'll grow into your fat, like you'll grow into your body type thing. So I wasn't, an extremely obese or extremely overweight child, but I was, a little on the heftier side, I would say. I'll insert some embarrassing photos for your enjoyment here. So my later teens, grades, 10, 11, 12, I started to gain some weight. My dad also dealt with a lot of health issues in that time, and so that was a stressful time for our family as well. And I definitely have always been an emotional eater, so that didn't help. I would go out with friends a lot. We would eat a lot of fast food, and I would drink, sodas and sugary coffees and things like that very regularly and very often. And it was just kind of the way we socialized at the time and the way that we got together and hung out. It was always relating to food in some way. I was always going out for meals or going out for dessert or going for coffee, but then coffee would end up being, coffee and a donut or coffee and, whatever else. So, yeah, that's just kind of how my friend group socialized at the time. And I think a lot of people deal with that. I was also a dancer and felt that pressure to sort of look a certain way, and I always had this awareness that I don't have a dancer's body, quote unquote, and that was difficult growing up and dancing and loving to dance, but also feeling like I didn't quite fit in. And yeah, that was difficult to go through. I was really stressed in those couple years as well, because they took away our grade 13. So this might sound super weird to a lot of you, but fun fact, when I started high school, I thought that I would have 5 years of high school because there was such a thing as grade 13 or OAC. And they did away with it, and my class was actually the first to not have grade 13. We graduated at the same time as the grade 13s, and the people who were a year older than us, they were the last people to have grade 13 in our province. So I found that really stressful. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I thought I wanted to go to college or university, but I didn't know if my grades were good enough, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So there was a lot of stress and anxiety with that as well. So in grade 12, I got up to about 165 pounds, and just for reference, I'm 5'7.5". Yes, the half-inch counts. And I was honestly okay with that. I didn't have a huge problem with it. I was just like, yeah, I'm 165. I was kind of at the cusp, I think, of being overweight and normal weight, so I wasn't too concerned about it. And I went through times where I would try to eat really healthily and I'd be really on track and at a good healthy weight, and then I'd have times where I wouldn't care or think too much about what I was eating and how that impacted my weight, and therefore my weight would go up and fluctuate and be up and down a little bit. So I took a year off after high school to try to figure out what I wanted to do, and I felt this really strong pressure to figure it out and find out what my life's purpose was and what I wanted to do. And I tried to figure that out. I decided to get an English degree. I think I just did it because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I was left really open-ended with what I was going to do after university. So in my freshman year of university, I gained the freshman 15, which for me was more like the freshman 20. So I was up around 185 pounds. So 185 pounds with my height calculates to like on the cusp of overweight and obese. I was a little upset that I had gained 20 pounds, but at the same time, I wasn't super concerned about it. I was like, it's normal, you know, people gain weight in their first year and it's fine, it'll figure itself out. I also had stopped dancing at that point. That was another shift as well. I wasn't as active. I also spent a lot of time on campus, a lot of time eating on campus. So that contributed to my weight gain as well. So a year later, in my second year of university, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And obviously that was a massive shock. I was only 20 years old. And yeah, I had to drop a bunch of classes, have surgeries, go through chemotherapy, and it was an extremely difficult time, obviously, for me and for my family. Let me know if you'd like a full video about my cancer diagnosis and experience. I knew nothing about plant-based nutrition at that time, so I just underwent, conventional treatment. But let me know if you'd like to hear more about that. I'd be happy to make a video about it if it's something you're interested in hearing about. So during that time, I emotionally ate a lot, and I was also brought a lot of sweets. So I've always had a really massive sweet tooth, and I've also always enjoyed salty things. I used to dump salt on top of absolutely everything. And so my friends and family would be really sweet and bring me candies and chocolate in particular, because I was a chocoholic, and it was known that I loved that. And so people would be really sweet, and I'd be laid up and not able to move around very much and recovering and not feeling well, and people would bring me food. And it was so sweet and so thoughtful of people to come visit and come hang out with me and to bring me something. But yeah, I ended up eating a lot of junk food, and yeah, just comforting myself with food a lot. So post-cancer treatment and being told that I was cancer-free, I just wanted to get back to life as normal. And life as normal as a student was to get back into classes right away, try to catch up from where I had to drop classes. And I even went to summer school, which looking back on it now, I'm like, why did I do that to myself? I didn't need to do that, but I felt this rush to get things done. I had this new opportunity to live and to be cancer-free, and I just wanted to sort of get back to normal and go back to my old way of living, hanging out with my then boyfriend, now husband, and with my friends, and going to school and doing the normal student, going out at night, going to bars and pubs and having fun, right? So over the next few years, I probably gained about 45 pounds or so. I don't know exactly how high my weight got, because after a certain point, when I got up to about, 230 or so, I stopped weighing myself. I had to shop at the plus size shops, and yeah, I just sort of stopped looking at the number because I didn't want to see it. My weight fluctuated up and down. Post-cancer, I also started to have other health problems. So I dealt with some mental health issues. I dealt with depression and anxiety and took medication for that for a while. And after that, I had a lot of issues with chronic pain and fatigue and brain fog. And the issues would kind of come and go, and it was really confusing, and I couldn't pinpoint why it was happening. I was teaching dance classes during university and through this time. So then I got engaged, and my boyfriend at the time, husband now, Chris, proposed to me, and we got married. And before we got married, I wanted to lose weight to look good for my wedding. And I probably weighed, I don't know, about 200 pounds maybe before my wedding. So in preparation for my wedding, I drank a lot of Slim Fast. I ate a lot of chicken and broccoli with little teeny portions of rice. And I joined a boot camp, and I did home workout DVDs every day. And so I got down to about 175 or so in my wedding photos, and I was like, yeah, awesome. And I felt so beautiful on my wedding day and felt so happy and amazing, and it was a beautiful day. I'm almost in tears. I'm such a sensitive Sally, but yeah, it was lovely. And I felt really good. I was like, yeah, I'm at my new fighting weight, like 175, awesome. And then the wedding was done, and it was honeymoon time. And so I got into honeymoon mode, and I had graduated from school. I actually got married and graduated from school in the same year, which looking back, I'm just like, whoa, why did I do that to myself? That's really stressful to finish university and also be planning a wedding in the same year. But anyway, that's a story for another day. I chopped all my hair off and dyed it blonde. I was super happy, and Chris was happy, and life was lovely. And I ate a lot, and I gained back all the weight I had lost and then some. And I sort of fluctuated around in the next few years, but I sort of rested around, I don't know, 195 to 205, in and around that realm, for quite a while after that. I also got into teaching fitness, and I taught Zumba for a few years, and I really loved teaching Zumba. It was really fun, but I was an overweight, obese fitness instructor, and that left me in a weird kind of position. I was so thrilled that I could do it because it's not something I ever expected that I would do, to be a fitness instructor. And so I was proud of myself, and I went through waves of feeling really good about it and really confident and like, yeah, I'm a big girl, but I can move my body, I can dance, and feeling good and strong and confident. And then other times when I just felt like a complete imposter, just completely out of my comfort zone, and like I didn't quite fit in or belong. So with all of my health issues flaring up and coming and going, I had a really bad flare-up at one point where I was having problems with breathing, and it was eventually diagnosed as severe adult onset asthma, but at the time it wasn't diagnosed. And so I had that, and I was dealing with chronic pain and fatigue, and I had to quit teaching Zumba because it just got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. And that was really sad. So fast forward a few years, I weighed about 200 pounds pre-pregnancy, and I tried to eat healthfully during my pregnancy, but I was also nauseous my entire pregnancy, and I just kind of let myself eat whatever I wanted to eat. I of course gained weight during my pregnancy, which is totally normal, totally good. Gain weight during your pregnancy, it's good. You should gain weight during your pregnancy. So that happened. And yeah, I ate a lot of junky stuff, unfortunately. I would have smoothies in the morning, which was great, and that sort of helped with my nausea. But I also ate a lot of Kraft Dinner and hot dogs and pizza and sweets and chocolate and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't restrict any of that stuff because I just thought, you know, I'm pregnant, whatever. I didn't really have the mentality that I was eating for two, but I just sort of ate whatever I wanted to eat. Post pregnancy, and my son was born, and he came early and surprised us, and he was lovely. And he was 4 months old, and I started to do some thinking about health and longevity. At that point, we were trying to decide what his first foods would be. I was also thinking about how in that year I was cancer-free for a decade. And so I was like, whoa, I've been cancer-free for 10 years. And I had this realization that I was cancer-free and surviving, not cancer-free and thriving. I weighed about 220 pounds. My son was 4 months old, and I decided to go plant-based overnight. I had watched some documentaries, I had done research, and I thought, okay, this is a good way for me to reduce my future disease risk, which I didn't even know I had control over. This is a great way to feed my son and feed our family. And I was really looking at health and longevity, and weight loss was kind of secondary. It was sort of in the back of my mind. It wasn't my primary focus and my primary goal, but it was definitely there for sure in the back of my head as, oh, I'll probably lose weight in the process and get to a healthier weight. So I went plant-based overnight, and it was a weird transition. I wasn't sure how I was going to make it work because I didn't enjoy vegetables. I did not like cooking. I didn't want to spend time in the kitchen, but I also felt really strongly about making the change, and I figured out how to make it work, and you know, I kept it simple. I'll link some other videos here you can check out on that. So I've said many times in past videos that I lost 60 pounds in my first year of being vegan. In looking back, I do have some notes from when I first went vegan and was sort of tracking my progress. And in looking back on it, I have notes in front of me so that if I'm looking down, that's why. I got to 152 pounds in July of 2016. So I actually lost 68 pounds. And I stayed around that realm between 150 and 160 for a couple of years. Unfortunately, 2018, 2019, I slowly, gradually was reincorporating processed foods into my diet. And my health really suffered for it. I had a lot of issues, and my weight crept up as well. So with inactivity and with taking prednisone for an extended period of time, I got back up to 177 pounds. So in April, May of 2019, I was starting to go back to whole food plant-based and really trying to eat as much whole foods as possible. And I did lose some weight in that process. I got down back to around 155. And then I had a massive flare-up in the fall of 2019. I had to quit a dance teaching job. It was awful. I was really stressed out and everything flared up all at once. My asthma, my endometriosis, my chronic pain, my fatigue, just everything was off the charts. The brain fog was just unbearable. So I decided, on the advice of a plant-based doctor, to try Dr. Goldner's hyper-nourishing protocol. And if you want more information about that, I'll leave some links below. And you can also check out my Amazon store, where I do have Dr. Goldner's books there that you can check out, just if you're interested. You can also try to maybe check your library. I'm not sure if they would be available there, but it's worth a shot. She also has a lot of free content on her YouTube channel and social media, so you can check out Dr. Goldner. I'll leave links below if you're curious. So I did that protocol for about 2 months. I got down to about 145 pounds, and I then switched to whole food plant-based, oil-free. I started gradually reincorporating cooked food into my diet, starting with oats and potatoes and tofu, and I was still feeling great. So I gradually reincorporated those foods and just focused on whole plant foods as much as possible, focusing on vegetables, fruit, legumes, whole grains, a little bit of nuts and seeds here and there, and obviously spices and all that good stuff. So by August 2020, I weighed 135 pounds, and I've been maintaining since that point. And I hover between 135 to 140 pounds, give or take, and I'm off all my medications. I have barely any symptoms. My asthma does flare up from time to time, especially in cold weather, or when I'm running in cold weather. That's especially not a good combination. But for the most part, it's under control. I haven't needed to take medication since that point. I do keep a rescue inhaler with me when I'm running, just in case I do need it, because there's no shame in taking medication if you do require it. But I haven't needed to take medication since that point, and even earlier than that. I think my last medication that I needed to take was in May of 2020. So I'm feeling strong, healthy, happy, energetic, and that has been my weight loss progression through the years. Lots of ups and downs and peaks and valleys, and it wasn't a linear process. Things would have been much more linear and simple and straightforward if I had been able to transition to a whole food plant-based diet, oil-free, and just stayed there and just done that and been consistent. Unfortunately, that wasn't my path and that wasn't my journey. I had to delve into the vegan processed junk, and I was curious, what does this taste like? And then one thing turned into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and before I knew it, my diet had quite a bit of processed food in it. So now I stick to whole food plant-based, oil-free, feeling great and having so much fun sharing my journey here on YouTube and on social media. You can check me out on Instagram, Facebook, my website. I also have a TikTok account if you want to check that out. Like this video if you liked it and found it helpful. Leave a comment below letting me know what your weight loss and your health journey has been like. Have you had an experience similar to mine, or has it been, you know, completely different? I'd love to hear it. I love chatting with you guys and hearing your stories about your journeys. So I'm done my weight loss journey now. I'm in weight loss maintenance mode and I'm doing my best. The pandemic obviously has been very stressful and I've had a few ups and downs with that, but generally I'm staying within that 135 to 140 range. That's a normal weight for me for my height and everything, so I feel good at that weight. I'm not trying to lose more weight. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Stay tuned for my next few videos, which have been highly requested. One will be about scars, stretch marks, and loose skin. One will be about my plant-based book collection, which is quite extensive, and another will be a Q&A. So if you'd like to ask me any questions, leave me questions below and I will include them in the video, especially if I get the same questions over and over, or if a question is liked multiple times, I'll know to include it. All right, Riordan wanted to pop in for the end of the video here, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you watching, subscribing, commenting, liking the videos, all that good stuff. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
You want to say bye-bye?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.